There's a specific kind of pain that nobody talks about. Not grief, not depression, not burnout. Something quieter than all of those. It's the feeling you get when you realize nobody really needs you anymore. Not in the urgent way they used to. Your kids are adults. Your career is winding down or already behind you. The phone doesn't ring with the same frequency, and the question you can't quite say out loud is, if I disappeared for a week, would anyone even notice? You don't say that to anyone because it sounds dramatic, because you know you're loved, because on paper everything is fine. But that hollow feeling in your chest, that low-grade restlessness that shows up on Sunday evenings, that's not drama. That's your nervous system responding to a real loss. And today, we're going to name it properly. Robert was 59 years old when he took early retirement. He planned for years, saved, waited, and when the day arrived, he felt empty. Not sad exactly, not anxious clinically, just weightless. As if someone had removed all the furniture from a room and he was left staring at the walls. He told me, I kept waiting to feel free. Instead, I just felt irrelevant. Irrelevant. A heavy word for a man who spent 30 years being indispensable. And the most interesting part, Robert wasn't alone in this. But he thought he was, because no one around him was talking about it. You spent decades building a functional identity, not a philosophical identity, an operational identity. I am the person who gets things done. I am the one they call when something breaks. I am the provider, the caretaker, the expert, the parent who knows what to do. That identity wasn't just a social role. It was neurological structure. Let me explain what that means. Because it matters. When you have a clear role, a recognizable daily purpose, your brain organizes time around it. You wake up with direction. Your dopaminergic system knows what to reward. Your social interactions have context. Your value in the world is tangible. That's not vanity. It's how the human nervous system was built. We are deeply shaped by social roles, by function, by belonging to groups that depend on us. For most of human history, a 55-year-old was an elder, a holder of knowledge, a tribal advisor. There was no retirement. There was role transition, but never role absence. What the modern world has created is something unprecedented in the history of the species. An extended period of life with no clear social function. You're no longer the urgent provider, no longer the hands-on parent. The kids have grown, no longer the indispensable professional, and no one, absolutely no one, prepared you for what that does to the psyche. There's a term psychologists use, role exit. It's the experience of losing a central role in your identity, not just the loss of the role itself, but the loss of the self that was anchored to it. And what research shows is that role exit, especially when multiple roles are lost at the same time, was one of the most consistent predictors of identity crisis in midlife and beyond. Retirement, kids leaving home, divorce, loss of a parent. When 2 or 3 of these happen close together, what you feel isn't just sadness, it's existential disorientation. Who am I now, if not what I do? Now, here's what few people connect. This identity void isn't psychological in an abstract sense. It's physiological. When you lose a central identity role, your HPA axis, hypothalamic pituitary adrenal, registers it as a threat, not as a life change, as danger. Your cortisol shifts, your heart rate variability shifts, your sleep patterns shift, your inflammatory response shifts. What you experience as emotional emptiness can be interpreted by the body as a signal of threat or instability. especially when there's loss of belonging or clear function. And here's where this connects to what we explored in our previous video about senescent cells. Chronic low-grade stress, often associated with unresolved identity transitions, has been linked to biological markers related to accelerated aging. It's not just metaphor, it involves measurable biochemical pathways. Let me show you how science is understanding this. Researchers in social neuroscience have identified something called social identity threat. And what they discovered is that this threat activates the same brain regions involved in physical pain. It's not metaphor when you say you feel hurt by feeling irrelevant. Your brain literally processes it as pain. The anterior insula, a region associated with pain, lights up in neuroimaging studies when people experience social exclusion or role loss. But here's the part most people don't know. The brain is extremely sensitive to the difference between two states. State 1, I am needed. State 2, I am no longer needed. The transition between these two states isn't gradual in the nervous system. It's abrupt, even when the life change was planned, even when it was desired, even when, rationally, it makes complete sense. The prefrontal cortex understands logic. The amygdala responds more primitively. It may interpret this shift as loss of belonging or reduced social relevance. And that signal, repeated daily, creates a pattern of activation that looks a lot like low-grade anxiety. And here's where it gets serious. When role exit isn't processed consciously, it can become prolonged and generate persistent distress, especially when multiple role losses occur close together in time. What longitudinal research on retirement shows is concerning. Across multiple longitudinal studies, the first 12 to 18 months after losing a central role appear to be especially important. Individuals who struggle more to develop a new identity structure during that period show higher rates of cognitive decline over time, greater incidence of clinical depression, and in some long-term analyses, higher risk of mortality in the years that follow. These are associations, not inevitable outcomes, but the pattern is consistent. This isn't a problem of attitude. It's not lack of gratitude. It's not weakness of character. It's a nervous system without anchoring. And nervous systems without anchoring find ways to create alarm. Chronically elevated cortisol, background inflammation, fragmented sleep. That sense of restlessness you can't quite explain. It has a name, and it has a solution. Here's the insight that changes everything, and that almost no one offers. The problem isn't that you lost your roles. The problem is that you're still using your old roles as the yardstick to measure your value. Let me explain. There's a fundamental distinction in identity psychology, performance identity, based on what you do, produce, deliver. Being identity, based on who you are, what you value, how you relate to the world. Throughout most of productive adulthood, being identity is subordinated to performance identity. Not because you're shallow, because the system rewards performance, because your family needed you to perform, because the job market values output, not depth. And then, the moment comes when performance slows down. The kids leave, the career ends, and you're faced with a question you may never have had time to answer. Who am I when I'm not being useful? For many people over 50, that's the most frightening question they've ever faced, not because there isn't an answer, but because there was never space to ask it. Robert, the man who felt irrelevant in retirement, took 14 months to understand what was happening to him. Not because he was slow, because no one had named the problem correctly. Doctor said, "You seem a little depressed. Want to try something for that?" Family said, "Dad, you deserve to rest. Enjoy it." Friends said, "Wish I had your problems." No one said, "You're experiencing role exit. Your identity needs to be rebuilt, not recovered, because what you're looking for doesn't exist anymore. What you need to build didn't exist yet." When someone finally said that to Robert, he said it felt like a weight had been lifted off his chest, not because the problem disappeared, but because it finally had a name. And problems with names can be worked on. So how do you rebuild identity after 50? It's not a list of hobbies. It's not keep busy. It's not travel and grandchildren. It's something more fundamental and more interesting. First, distinguish between recovery and reconstruction. Many people try to recover what they had. They look for a job similar to the one they had. They try to be needed in the same way they were. They replicate old structures in new contexts. Research on identity transitions suggests this often prolongs the crisis. What works better, according to longitudinal studies on well-being in mature adults, is active reconstruction, starting from values, not functions. Useful questions. What do I actually care about? Not what I was good at professionally. What kind of presence do I want to be in the lives of the people I love? What would I do if nobody were keeping score? These aren't abstract philosophical questions. They're identity re-anchoring exercises. Second, create deliberate structure, not just time filling. The nervous system needs structure, not mere activity. There's a crucial difference between "I'm busy" and "I have a rhythm that means something to me." Research on well-being in retirees consistently shows that those who develop deliberate structure, schedules with purpose, not just appointments, have significantly better health markers than those who simply relax. What this looks like in practice: a project with a beginning, middle, and measurable progress, commitment to a community that expects you, a skill being developed, not mastered, developed. The brain responds to progression. Dopamine is released in anticipation of future reward, not from rest. Third, rebuild roles, but chosen roles, not inherited ones. You don't need to stop being needed. You need to choose by whom and in what way. That might be mentorship. It might be volunteering in an area of genuine interest. It might be intentional presence with grandchildren, not as a babysitter, but as a conscious transmitter of history and values. It might be creation, writing, art, music that doesn't require an audience to have value. The criterion isn't external usefulness, it's internal resonance. Does this feel like me, or like what I think I should be doing? Fourth, name the grief. Role exit is a real loss, and real losses require real grieving. Not pathological, not prolonged beyond what's necessary, but acknowledged. Many people skip the grieving because the loss feels ungrateful. How can I grieve retirement when so many people dream of it? But grief isn't proportional to the external magnitude of the loss. It's proportional to what that thing meant to you. And if your career, your role as a present parent, your social position were central to your identity for decades, their loss deserves to be recognized, not as defeat, as a real transition. An important note: if what you're feeling goes beyond identity emptiness, if there are persistent thoughts of worthlessness, loss of pleasure in everything, difficulty functioning, that may be clinical depression, which responds very well to treatment. Don't hesitate to talk to a healthcare professional. Recognizing that you need support isn't weakness. It's exactly the kind of judgment that reflects real wisdom. Let's go back to that question from the beginning. If I disappeared for a week, would anyone even notice? Now you know that question doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes from a nervous system that lost its anchoring, from a brain that was built to be needed and is recalibrating to a new reality. It isn't weakness, it's a signal. Robert, 14 months after that feeling of irrelevance, wrote to me one last time. He had started doing informal mentoring with young professionals in his field. 2 hours a week, no salary, no title, no updated LinkedIn. He said, "I'm not needed the way I used to be, but I'm chosen, and that's actually better." Not needed out of obligation, chosen because of value. That's the distinction that changes everything. You spent decades being needed. The next chapter is learning to be chosen by people who truly choose you, by causes that resonate with who you really are, by a version of yourself that never had space to exist. This isn't loss, it's opening. An opening, for those willing to walk through it, is where the most interesting life begins. If this video touched something you've been feeling but couldn't name, there's an episode that explores a specific layer of this more deeply. We explore why, for many people after 50, the simple act of relaxing starts to feel like anxiety, why being still feels dangerous, why rest, which should feel like relief, becomes uncomfortable. It's the exact other side of what we discussed today. Identity void and inability to relax are symptoms of the same nervous system, responding to the same absence of anchoring. The link is here on the screen. Watch it when you're ready. And before you go, tell me in the comments, was there a specific moment when you felt this shift? A day, a transition, a conversation, when you realized your role had changed? I want to hear, because your story is probably the story of someone who still doesn't have the courage to say it out loud. See you in the next one.